around the room and see who's with you this morning, as we're all available for a revelation, an insight, greater understanding of the depth of our oneness with God. Look at the beings around you and feel the fire of luminosity emanating from the depth of their being. You may see them as merely human, but inside there's a cauldron of fire, of light, brilliance, and luminosity. Look all around and embrace the beings that are with you here in the balcony, love streaming on Facebook Live, in the archive, in what we would call the future, but is really an eternal now. Wave at each other, love each other, embrace each other. Now turn right now to somebody else. Just turn to somebody and look at them and say, my. The glory of God is all in you. That would be love, intelligence, power, poise, confidence, harmonizing prosperity, wealth, abundance, opulence, divine beauty, and radical success. You have come to set it free, that we may make a mighty difference on this planet and help change the world for the better. Let's be about this together in the here and now. And so it is. Amen. Hug and agree. Touch and agree. High five and agree. You can embrace the neighbors around you, because one of the most intimate things that you can do with another human being is to pray with somebody, meditate with somebody, come to the sacred silence with somebody. So we don't want to just have like a fly-by-night, one-night prayer stand with each other. We want to know each other a little bit before we get into the levels of intimacy. This is why you hug and look into each other's eyes. You can see the radiant divine light of the Christ presence emanating through each and every one of us. And now there's a holy field of intentionality, a love, a beauty, and intelligence that's not theoretical, but it's more and more active within us. Because that moment of looking to someone's eyes and seeing the absolute truth about each other pulled us away from our space of being merely human and having human perception, and pulled us into a greater space of seeing that we're all emanations of the one God, the one power, and the one presence, openings through which this presence gets to personify itself as each and every one of us. Now, all of that I just said is very important, because oftentimes human beings are reaching out to get something to make themselves feel good or develop some kind of level of happiness. When you become aware that this presence that is everywhere, which is why we call it omnipresent, this presence that is everywhere wants to personify itself as your life, that is, everything you could want and hope for and desire is already within you, and you're allowing it to come forward, then you cut yourself off from the transitory happiness, the counterfeit joy, and you come into harmony with that joy that is intrinsic to your being, that you have come not to get, but to let. You have come not to get, but to allow your light to so shine before men and women that when they see you, they see the presence of God that sent you. This is why you are here. The paramount, the absolute pinnacle of human experience is to be here for self-realization, to have a realization of our oneness with life, and then to express it according to our unique pattern. Thus, we've been exploring the theme of this month, which is the trust factor, and we've been pulling from the book of Proverbs to a degree, and that is that 3rd chapter and that 5th verse that says, "Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not into our own understanding." And we've come to embrace that this month as an expanded awareness that we are reserving our full and uninhibited trust for the Lord, that is the great law of life, God, life itself, beauty, intelligence, these causeless, changeless, the very causeless and changeless essence of reality, in leaning not into our limited, minuscule perceptions of life, which are often based upon the reactions to past experiences or paradigms that we have inherited. We're leaning not into our own understanding at all, but we're opening ourselves up to trust life and what life really is. So we've come to an understanding this month that we are trusting life, trusting God, and that we are loving people. That people give us a great opportunity. They give us an opportunity to pray, to grow into compassion, grow into patience, generosity, to grow into magnificent qualities, because people are like sandpaper to our magnificent beauty. Sometimes that sandpaper is coarse. Sometimes that sandpaper is fine. Sometimes it's buffing. Sometimes it's just sweet intimacy. But people give you the opportunity to absolutely unfold in ways by which you could not do by yourself. For you, if you were on the mountaintop of life just simply meditating, you might have insights and revelations. Yes, you would. But the people would show you if you really attained it or not, you see? And so they give us an opportunity to sandpaper ourselves, not to project our unresolved issues onto other people and shame and blame other people, but to own it all, take 100% responsibility for our own emotionality, and allow people to be a part of the sandpaper effect, loving people, trusting God. And if we hang out in that space of trusting this infinite presence and loving people for the opportunity that we get to go deeper in our spiritual practice, and we don't mix up the two, then we move through life in flow motion. That is, we become the opening through which the flow of life begins to take over our existence, and the gracious and the kindness and the compassion and the beauty and the generosity and the creativity that comes directly from the mind of the infinite begins to be the activity of our awareness, and we get to reveal, represent, replicate, according to our unique pattern, that which is happening cosmically, universally, the elegance of the universe and the cosmos. We get to reveal that in our everyday lives. That's wholeness, that's well-being, that's creativity, that's harmonizing prosperity, that's joy, that's happiness, not based upon external conditions, which is a counterfeit, temporary happiness. It's a happiness and joy that comes from the direct encounter with the presence that is never an absence. And you are here because you do not want to live an up and down life based on external conditions. You are here to have permanent happiness based on a realization of the capital S self that's within your very being. Trust in the great law of life. Trust in the presence. Trust in that which is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And as the reading indicated, go into deeper and deeper and more pure, more consistent levels of practice of these sacred truths, so that they become the very woof and warp of your being, the very essence of who and what you really are. So when people see you and they feel you coming, they know something good is coming. They know a vibration of good and of love and of joy and of harmony is coming, because you're bringing it with you from well beyond the dim midst of eternity. You're bringing eternity into time. And so we are trusting in this dynamic presence that is never an absence, and we are moving into the consciousness of the art of letting go, the art of letting go. And that is, we are practicing to let go to the great presence, to let go to God, to let go to life. It's a cultivation of an intentionality to let go to all is well, to let go that the universe is elegant and is unfolding magnificently. It's a letting go to the beauty and the love and the abundance that is everywhere. And most people unconsciously pray and then clutch. Pray and then clutch. They'll pray and then they'll clutch. They'll pray and then they'll clutch, and they know exactly what they want and how it's to unfold and how it's to manifest. So they'll pray and they'll let go to the presence for a moment, and then they will limit their point of view, and then they will clutch into a limited paradigm that says, I'm going to be exactly who I am, but I want this. You see? And so prayer is, and so individuals are seeking to manage their own transformation. They're seeking to manage their own change. Now, when you let go and let God, you give up management to the higher authority of your own life. You're no longer managing it. You're letting go so that your own limited perception, your own limited understanding is not in any way inhibiting what wants to flow through you moment by moment by moment, that's beyond your imagination, that's beyond what you can articulate. And so instead of praying and then clutching and praying and clutching and praying and clutching, you learn the art of letting go, and you begin to be aware that your life is governed by invisible forces that are making up your present paradigm. And that present paradigm is made up of how you were raised. It's made up of the ceilings around you that you've gotten used to. It's made up of societal norms and societal fantasies and parental fantasies and governmental fantasies. You have a particular paradigm that you are living in, and regardless of how hard you pray, you're not going to manifest be outside of that paradigm until you let go of it and let yourself flow into a higher dimension of being. So the dimension of spiritual practice is to come to be aware of the paradigm in which you are living so that you can let it go. And so as an example, you think to yourself, you look at your family as an example, and let's just deal with prosperity just for a moment. But we can deal with health. We can deal with all manner of ways of being, which you look at and you see what has been comfortable for you. And in your life, how much prosperity have you been able to be comfortable with until you sabotage it, until you spend all your money, until you're not comfortable with having money, whatever the case may be? You look at that paradigm, and you can see perhaps that paradigm came from your family, came from an ancestor, it came from wherever, but you notice that it's the invisible force that's keeping you within a particular dimension. And so then what you do is you notice it, you close your eyes, you feel into that paradigm, and then you breathe and you extend yourself into a larger paradigm, a larger point of view. You begin to embrace the abundance of the universe. You begin to embrace all needs met. You begin to embrace a prosperity. We're not talking materialism here. You begin to embrace a prosperity, a wealth, a well-being. You begin to embrace that which is outside of your present paradigm, that an invisible force that's running you right now. You begin to embrace that. You breathe, and then you sustain that breath around that paradigm. You hold it for a few moments, and then when you open your eyes, you walk and you talk from that new expanded paradigm. You walk and you talk from that expanded point of view, and you do this at least 3 times a day, in which you start in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and you keep on extending yourself beyond your present paradigm, and you do not ask how any of this is to happen, how any of this is to manifest. You are expanding your paradigm on a regular basis. You're letting go of the old paradigm, and you're letting go to God, to love, to infinite good. And then as you become comfortable walking in the vibrational frequency of a new paradigm, you become shocked and amazed by the doors that begin to open, the opportunities that begin to come to you, the ways by which life starts to meet and greet you, because you are carrying the answer. You're not looking for it. You're not searching everybody to find if somebody's got your answer. No, you've got the answer because the answer is vibrational. It's in you. And so you're learning the art and the science of letting go of an old paradigm without blame, without shame, without excuses. You're just aware that that's been your paradigm up to that moment. Maybe that was your paradigm where health is concerned. And maybe in your family someone said, oh, you know, you're just like your aunt, you're always sick, or that you've inherited whatever from your family. Not so. You've inherited God life. You have inherited a perfect pattern of wholeness and well-being. Everything else has been laid over that based on circumstances and reaction to circumstances that have become a belief system within the family structure or the societal structure. you begin to notice that people follow. They do what's popular. So if a particular disease is going around, everybody unconsciously wants to catch it. Oh, this is popular now. Oh, I think I got it. I think I got the symptom. They just unconsciously fall under the hypnotic spell of the satanic forces, meaning downward spiraling forces that would influence you and seduce and provoke you into a lesser paradigm. Not you, not here, not now. Not you, not here, and not now. You are going beyond your conditioning. And you have to be aware that everybody has been conditioned to some degree in many areas of our own life. Your prayer is not to get what you want. Your prayer is to break free from the conditions preventing life from rushing through you. You don't have to pray to God to give you anything. God is rushing, expressing, living, loving, being, giving of itself everywhere. But are you available to receive it? Or are you too holy? Meaning you're porous. It just flows through you. You can't hold it. You can't embrace it. You can't sustain the frequency or the vibration at all. No, you are becoming strong. So hear it again. Become aware of the paradigm that's operating within your consciousness. You stop on a regular basis and you become aware of that paradigm. That particular paradigm is not two dimes coming together. A paradigm is a way of thinking. You become aware of that way of thinking that is habitualized itself into a perception. You feel into it, and then you expand. You become very grateful. Oh my God, this is what it feels like to be healthy. This is what it feels like to have all of my needs met. No one owes this to me. It's already been given me. I breathe into it. I feel into it. I jump and shout into it. I walk in it. I pimp walk in it if I have to. I strut in it. I dance in it. I move and groove and I just hang out in it. I breathe until that feeling tone becomes more real than anything. And then when I finish that particular session, I walk in the world with it. And you know what happens? The conditions have to bend itself around that. You are not the size of your body, thank God. You're not the size of your body. You have an etheric body that's infinite. And when it becomes filled to overflowing with the light and the luminosity, conditions start to bend themselves around your luminous body, and they begin to change. Understand this, that conditions and circumstances that we react to and seek to manipulate, they are the condensation of previously held thought forms, points of view, perspectives, positionalities, opinions, and worn-out conversations. And those conditions coagulate themselves, and we end up trying to use spiritual mind power to change external conditions when we haven't changed inside. And so what we're doing is becoming impervious to the condition by creating a vibrational condition within ourselves. And since conditions are only the coagulation of thought forms, meaning the slowed down vibration, as you begin to walk in higher frequency, then the conditions begin to change, because the higher frequency dominates the lower frequency, and that lower frequency has to speed up to stay with you. Now you understand, can't touch this. You can't touch this because you're vibrating well too high, you see. And so what am I saying to you today? I'm saying you are no longer to be an anticipant, you are to be a participant. You are not to be an anticipant. Oh, I'm anticipating good. I'm anticipating things are going to change. I'm anticipating this. No! No, you're not in some kind of false future. You begin to participate in the flow of life. So when you close your eyes and pray, and when you meditate, and when you get an insight, you are participating in the way it is. You're participating. You're not anticipating. You're in it. You're in the flow of it. And then it, by law, will have to manifest. You don't have to worry about that. That's not your job. Leave the driving to us, is what the Greyhound bus stations used to say. You know, you're going to leave manifestation to the law of manifestation. You are participating in a higher octave, in a higher field. So say with me right now, I'm not an anticipant. I'm not an anticipant. Look to your neighbor and say, I'm not an anticipant. I'm a participant. I'm a participant. I participate in the flow of life. I participate in love. I participate in beauty, creativity, abundance, health, prosperity, generosity, genius. I am participating right now. That's the way it is. Give somebody a high five. Touch and agree. So I want you to feel into this dynamic, because there is an art of letting go. So when you hear the time, the eternal phrase, let go and let God, that's a beautiful phrase, but you actually have to practice it, you see. So what you're not just letting go, you're letting go of an old paradigm that's influencing you, and you're letting the presence that is never an absence become the activity of your awareness. When you know what your belief is, and you know what your paradigm is, and you know what's been influencing you, then you can be aware of it, and then you can choose higher. And you choose higher in word and affirmation, yes, but very importantly, you choose higher in feeling tone. And then you walk in that feeling. You walk in that dynamic until everything else starts to move around you. And now you're participating in the glory of God. And then what do? You protect your consciousness. Do you understand that you're to be vigilant? You got to protect it, because the world will come up and try to invade with its points of view and its fears, doubts, and worries, and minding other people's business, and it'll get you in all kinds of things. Today there's such a great challenge for our young folks, because they got social media and reality shows. We didn't have all that back in the day. You know what I mean? We just laughed at that kind of stuff. Now people look at it. And they know more about some star's breakfast than they know about their own consciousness. You know what I mean? And so you have to protect your awareness so that what is entering in is being filtered by your fundamental motivation and intention to have a realization of your oneness with God. Now, if you understand that paramount in this life is our happiness. We're not talking frivolity. We're talking about a true happiness that comes from our oneness with the Spirit. It's paramount within you. You are here to wake up to your intrinsic nature. And happiness is it's not merely a byproduct, it's the uncovering of your real nature when you realize your oneness with God, you see. And so when you come to that awareness, then after a while, it becomes systematic and automatic. You don't even bother with or even hear stuff that's going to pull you down, you see. And if you hear and stuff, then you know that is your call to pray. That is your call, because here's what goes on. Let me just break this down for you. There's a heavenly state of consciousness, meaning you're hanging out in the dynamic of peace. You're hanging out in the dynamic of love. You're hanging out in the dynamic of gratitude. You're hanging out in the dynamic of grateful assurance, spiritual assurance that all is well. This is a place that you live in. It's not just a place you go to. It's a state of consciousness. And what brings you into a lower frequency is your judgmental mind that lives in what should be and what shouldn't be. It vacillates in that this shouldn't be, this should be. This shouldn't be, and this should be. This shouldn't be, and this should be. You see, and like we used to say back in the day, we don't want you to shit on yourself. You know what I mean? It's not a good day. It's a vibrational stench that you don't want to live in. And so instead of living in that dynamic of this should be, this shouldn't be, this should be, this should be. No, you raise your frequency so that you can begin to live in what really is. This is where the practitioners seek to live, you know, is what is real, what is truth, what's eternal, what's timeless. So I'm living in that state. I seek to live in that state. And I become aware when I'm being pulled into what should and what shouldn't be. And I don't lose my discernment. I don't lose the discernment so I can walk in the world, but I don't have heavy judgment. I just have discernment. I'm living in my heavenly state. I'm living in a more expanded paradigm. So what am I available to? Guidance, direction. My intuition is heightened. I can feel, I shouldn't turn left. That's not going to be a good thing. I don't know why, but I'm not going down that way. You see, I'm guided by my higher order of being, living in a higher state of awareness. I'm not living in what should or shouldn't be. I'm living in the timeless, eternal what is. And what is? Omnipresence, omniscience. What is? Omnipotence. What is? Omniactivity. The presence that is never an absence, a presence of God, Almighty, all beauty and all joy. And because of my practice, these aren't just words. Because of your practice, you become initiated into a higher state of being. So now you can walk in the world. All kinds of stuff going on. You can understand the 91st Psalm where it talks about all of this stuff happening on the planet. All of this stuff going up and down. But it shall not come nigh thee, shall not enter in, because I have made the secret place of the Most High my habitation. I'm living in a higher order of being. Yes, I can see all this stuff going on. My judgment is not pulling me into it. I'm living in a higher state so that my language, my thought, my words are words of blessing and encouragement and vision and creativity, innovativeness, resourcefulness. I'm able to move and groove in the world because I'm a fiat of the Spirit, you see. The presence of God begins to take over. Now, what I'm talking about here, understand, we're talking about a practice because it is simple, but it is not easy. It's not easy, but it is simple because you're under the influence of something that happened in your family. You're in the influence of something that happened in the past and your interpretation of it. You're in the influence of a societal fantasy. You're under the influence of all the stuff going on down, and now you are, as the song they were singing, it's all falling away from you. You're rising up. So you're only being influenced by the Most High. Now understand, here's the difficulty. As you begin to break free, you jettison out of the orbit of the lower frequencies. You begin to shed that no longer serves you. You go into a higher orbit. Now here's the difficulty. As a human being, you want to belong. It's a part of our nature. And sometimes you'll belong to mediocrity just to belong. You see, it's just like, well, okay, let's gossip. You'll belong to mediocrity just to belong. And if you can maintain the higher state and participate in it for a period of time, you will come to an understanding at the next level of your awareness. There are people there too. You just couldn't see them before because they were invisible to you because vibrationally you weren't living there. And then you begin to notice other individuals that you didn't even think about. Suddenly they loom large and you say, oh God, that person is beautiful. I didn't even notice them before. You couldn't because you weren't at the frequency. Remember this statement. When the pickpocket sees the Buddha, all he sees is his pockets, you see. Because all that pickpocket can see is his state of consciousness, you see. Doesn't see the luminous, enlightened, glorious being. All the pickpocket sees is his own awareness of what's important to him. And so when you begin to break free from the lower frequencies, there'll be a moment of aloneness because your old habits will die. Old conversations will die. And then what will emerge is a different world. You'll see people you didn't even think were important to you before will suddenly become very important to you because they're vibrating at that next level of who you are, you see. And then you won't be trying to manage your own transformation. You'll let go and let God. You'll let go and let love. You'll let go and let peace. You'll let go and let abundance have its way with you. You'll let go and let infinite opportunities rain down upon you. You'll let open doors be everywhere. You'll let it. You'll allow it. You'll yield to it. You'll surrender to it. Trust factor. Trust in the great God of the universe. Trust in its laws. Lean not into your limited perception. Do not lean into your limited perception at all. Develop and cultivate the art of letting go to a higher frequency, letting go of the old paradigm, breathing into the new paradigm. Walk in it, talk in it, dance in it, sing in it, write from it, speak from it, hug from it, live in it, until it becomes your dominant frequency. And in the world, because God is not only in its creation, all the creation is in God. The moment you attain another state of consciousness, all creation shifts its vibration for you. God is everywhere. God is everywhere, in everything, and everything is in God. So the moment your vibration is lifted, then everything, which it always is working together for your good. All things work together for good for they who love God and live according to that divine purpose that's loaded and coded within our being. Trust in this. Practice this. Affirm this. Pray from this. Vision from this. Act from this. And watch. Let your life bear witness to the truth that makes you free. Oh, you can scream about this. Let every cell of your body feel into this. We're in heaven right now. We're in it right now. Say, I'm in heaven right now. I have heavenly consciousness. I have love consciousness. I have beauty consciousness. I have joy consciousness. I have abundance consciousness. I have plenitude consciousness. I have opulence consciousness. I have health consciousness. I have well-being consciousness. I have wealth consciousness. I have joy consciousness. I am, I have. I am, I have. I am, I have. Feel into that right now. Whew. Close your outer eye for just a moment. And be aware, just be aware of any area of your life where you know the paradigm from which you were living. Maybe it was scarcity. Maybe it was a fear-based paradigm that produced a lot of anxiety and anxiousness. Maybe it was a paradigm around health where you just have a thought that you'll never be healthy, or you'll never be healthy enough to live your vision. Perhaps it's around love. You don't feel there's enough self-love that no one will ever love you, or whatever that paradigm is, just be aware of it. Don't give it power. Just being aware of it. And now, feel into the truth of your being. Feel into the expansion of your awareness. If it's health, feel that divine health is flowing right now. If it's scarcity that's been running you, feel that you're surrounded by abundance. You don't have to do anything about it. You just have to feel it. Just feel that abundance is everywhere around you. Just feel that you're surrounded by divine love. As we were playing that song earlier, who's got your back? Who loves you, baby? Who loves you? The presence is love. Just feel into your expanded. Now I want you to just inhale, suspend the breath at the apex. As you're suspending that breath, feel into the expanded point of view. You don't have to do anything about it, you just have to feel it. Let go with the sound of ah, ah. Now, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is on a regular basis, even when your life becomes intense, that you give yourself an opportunity to stop, notice what's running you, and then breathe into the expanded nature. Hold the breath from time to time. and then walk in your expanded nature. I can remember when I used to work for the Charles Drew Hospital NETS, Neighborhood Emergency Treatment and Transportation Service. Me and Lissa Sprinkles had the responsibility of writing the first mobile health unit proposal many years ago. And I can remember we would say to each other, going to the restroom, which was a euphemism, was, "I'm going to get still." Many times throughout the day, we would just go into the bathroom because there was so much politics and so much negativity. We would just go in, breathe into our expanded nature. It was the pause that refreshes. And then we would come back with the new paradigm, the new point of view. Who cares if people think you have diarrhea? Who cares if they think you gotta go, 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 go? Whatever you have to do to get to the new within you, you do it. And so in this moment, feel that laughter, feel that joy. Your soul is informing your face. Give a big smile on your face as we enter into the prayerful state right now. We launch into gratitude and thanksgiving and pure appreciation. We launch into the field of thankfulness. The surface mind may be trying to hypnotize you into thinking, oh, life is hard, there's not too much to be grateful for. Understand this, you're here. Understand that there are people on the planet right now that would love to be here, but they're under the siege of survival. They're in war. There's droughts. There's environmental concerns. They can't practice this way because they're under the aegis of a government that would not allow this. You get to do this. You get to come into an enlightened, awakened community that embraces everyone. Regardless of station in life, color of skin, sexual orientation, where you were born, what your nationality is, you are in a community that says, come one, come all. And so we start with gratitude that we get to do this. And because we get to do this, we must do it. And so we enter into this field of gratitude and we recognize the great presence that's everywhere. And we become so unified with this great presence that we're able to say, I am. I am what thou art, and thou art what I am. There's no difference here. And from this consciousness of divine oneness, I get to evoke the law. The vibration that I am speaking, called the word, I get to evoke the law of increase, the law of good, the law of prosperity, the law of abundance, the law of health, the law of wealth, the law of well-being, the law of intelligence, the law of creativity, the law of regeneration, rejuvenation, and renewal. I get to evoke that law right now, and I do. I do it for each of us. For each of us represents the one of us. So therefore, every organ, action, function of our being gets to reveal the celestial body of health and wholeness. Our mental body gets to reveal clarity. Our emotional body gets to reveal purity. And the body of our affairs gets to reveal the elegance of the cosmos, order and harmony, sacred geometry, divine symmetry, everything working together for our individual and for our collective good. It's all happening right now. When? It's all happening right now. And so we feel into that. Let that music carry you into a feeling tone. The feeling tone. What you got? Let me feel it. We're talking about a deep and profound feeling that leads to a sacred healing, that allows for a soulful revealing. That's what we're feeling. A destiny. It's allowing us to rise up into the consciousness of a reality that makes us free right here, right now. Feel into it. Feel into it.